Your support is greatly appreciated. Please engage that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more content. This is Aberration Earth. Our adventure continues. We come from very different places, but we are from the same world. The Earth my people left, this is the same Earth your people had to survive in, and just like you, our sea was up there, in the empty spaces between the stars. This haven lock of yours, he led your people from your ancestral past successfully, so that your generation could be here in the present. Regardless of what you had to do, you all made sure that your piece of humanity made it. Those are the deeds of heroes. We had ours, and you have yours. Whatever happened here since the colony expeditions were sent out must have been catastrophic. Your maps of the world are nothing like we have in our archives. Give me some paper and something to draw with, and I'll show you, the Zaxvoyan replied, moving over to the large table and leaning across it, while his host retrieved a long roll of parchment and placed it down before him. Handing him a thin gray-tipped tool and a small pot of ink to draft with, the captain said with some relief as he passed over the objects, "Here, if you can draw, I have some old maps we can compare that with. Thank you, my friend. I wanted you to understand what you may face when we reach the harbor. There are still many of us who have little tolerance for things that are not human. Even though we have changed, bringing that subject to our front door may cause some controversy." Nodding his head in understanding, Merrick got to work. Inside his mind, he accessed artificially embedded processors with a series of thoughts, bringing up a mental display for himself of the map of the Earth to reference as he put pencil to paper and began recreating that image. Within minutes, he had a complete outline and was adding more and more complex details as he went, all while his host looked on with interest as he produced a piece of work that may have taken weeks, if not longer, for any normal man to accomplish by hand alone. On the left side, a pair of large continents stretched from north to south, running vertically, nearly touching the polar regions, the two connected by a tapering land bridge between them. They were massive compared to anything on Jenker's maps, and dwarfed the largest of the contemporary land masses he could compare them with. But they were nothing next to the continental colossal to the right side, which dwarfed the first half, covering a much larger portion of the illustration he was producing. The Havenite started rummaging through shelves and cupboards, pulling out various old tombs and ancient atlases, some of which had seen better days, likely passing through the hands of countless mariners over centuries. Every comparison he produced didn't match any of the land formations Ventrulis was sketching out. It was like two different worlds, one with full and robust surfaces across the globe, and the other only sprinkles of terrain where one could step a foot on land. When he finished, Damad didn't recognize what he was seeing. Huge continents on both the eastern and western hemispheres of the world were foreign to him. He had never seen the like, and their size was unbelievable. There was so much land. To the captain's credit, he did not seem to take it as any more unbelievable than the large spaceman himself, whom he looked at pensively. Merrick was a man who should not exist, and yet here he stood in front of him, in this very private space, after rescuing him from what would have been a less than savory fate. The Zaxvoyan explorer from Leopold 7 represented a potential the Havenites did not know was possible for mankind. He was living proof of a technological sophistication their people once may have had in their hands, and now, perhaps if they were fortunate, they could have once again. This is the Earth as it was kept in our records. As you can see, between the two hemispheres, it had two distinct continental formations. The spaceman stated as he began to draw a series of horizontal and vertical lines across his work. easily recognized by the naval officer as latitude and longitude indicators. Unbelievable. I'd say you were a master map maker if I didn't know better. How have you managed to do this from memory? Jenker asked, marveling at the level of details included by his guest. Another benefit of our medical science. There is a microchip interfacing with my cerebral cortex. I can pull up information I have stored in a supplementary memory bank attached to it. To be fair, without it, I wouldn't be drawing us any maps, Merrick explained, tapping a finger to his temple to illustrate the point, causing his host to spill his drink as he laughed. They spoke for many hours then, poring over the various maps the Havenite retrieved, comparing them carefully against his own, discussing any possible similarities at length as they tried to piece together anything that could link the past to the present. A moment came when Ventrulus thought he spied something of note on an older map, one that looked like the Tri-Lake formation he had observed when he had dropped through the atmosphere during the emergency evacuation of the Cazoose. The captain remarked that it also bore a striking similarity to a large lake formation on a section of his guest's map, which was within one of the two continents he had drawn out initially on the left side of the paper, that being in the north of the Western Hemisphere, in an area once known as the Great Lakes. That's it. That's the one. But why isn't it on any of your current maps? He replied. Is this what you've been looking for? Bilge sacks, that's Aut-Norot, the city of wizards. Home to an assortment of unnatural things if the legends are true, the captain stated. Aut-Norot, a city of wizards. His head was spinning. Sorry, it must be a lot for you. I haven't ever seen the island myself, but it's real. We have records of our encounters with those people, and things from there, dating all the way back to the time of the notorious Black Admiral Yard Narford, the great-great-great-grandson of our founder, who lived in the 3rd century of our calendar around 350 PD. Demad related to him. This was a reference to the post-deluge age specific to the Havenite nation, whose records, he learned, were now in the 89th century of this current era, and stretched back an impressive 9,000 years. To have access to such an archive would be monumental. Perhaps he would even be able to unravel the mystery of what happened to this world if he could see it for himself. He looked between the two maps. There was little doubt. The shape of those 3 lakes matched almost exactly. Somehow, a large piece of land from the continent of North America had survived. Whatever happened to the rest of it was anyone's guess. You say it's a city of magical wizards? As in those who perform trickery as performance art? A bemused Merrick asked. Performance? Ha! I only wish. These are no illusionists, my friend. They are true wielders of mystical forces that can bend the laws of nature. I can tell you don't believe me, Jenker said to him. I'm skeptical, he answered plainly. Look closely. I can prove it to you. The seaman motioned for him to watch, as he took out a writing tool, dipped it in ink, and began to draw an outline of the missing island on the larger original map pinned to his table. To his astonishment, as soon as the outline of the little island was completed, it simply vanished from sight. It must be a trick, he stated. Demad shook his head, then repeated the process, and again his markings of the island disappeared before their eyes. Then he made another marking, in a different corner. This one was of a small fish, and it stayed where it was placed. Ventrulus wondered if he was witnessing a type of vanishing ink at work, but as if to disabuse him of the notion, the captain handed him the instrument to test it for himself. To his continuing surprise, whenever he attempted to recreate the same island, His ink markings disappeared before he could blink. But when he drew anything else, it dried on the paper as it normally should, visible. After multiple tests, doing both repeatedly, he conceded something was amiss. And there ends this episode. Until next time, thanks for listening. Please engage the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content.